The Ride1up Prodigy is a Class 3 cross-country electric mountain bike with a German-engineered Brose mid-drive motor. It's capable of speeds of up to 28 miles an hour,
26, 27.
And it does that pushing 90 Newton meters with a 14 amp hour Samsung battery with the best cells on the market. It comes kitted out with industry standard mountain bike parts that are designed for long days on the trails. Today I'm taking the Prodigy out for a spin where I'm going to test all of these. And while I wait for this battery to charge, let's take a closer look at exactly what you get when you buy one of these. Chatting with Daniel and the people at Ride1up, it's obvious that they take a huge amount of pride in running a great company. Here are the 3 things that they focus on, and in my opinion, why they're so successful. Number 1, outfitting their bikes with quality components. Number 2, bringing the price down and offering customers huge value. And number 3, US-based customer support. All the other brands out there might get 1 or 2 out of these, but never all 3. Now the main highlight for this bike is going to be the Brose system. I say system because unlike most other bikes out there that just put random parts together that are compatible, Ride1up took a different approach with this bike. Every single part of the electronics on this bike are designed to work as a system. Don't believe me? Check this out. Brose makes the motor, the battery, and the battery BMS, the display, the controller and torque sensor, the speed sensor, the whole wiring harness hidden in here, and they make all the programming so that everything works cohesively. Let's see what else is on the bike. Starting out back, the Prodigy rolls on a set of 27.5-inch Maxxis Forecaster tires, and these are 2.35 inches wide. The derailleur out back is a reliable microshift advent derailleur, and that shifts the gears on a 9-speed cassette. Pretty standard cranks and pedals. Wait, why isn't the chain moving? Oh, that's right, it's a mid-drive. Here's where the bike's torque sensor is. They even give you a chain guide here to keep the chain from falling off. Nice touch. And check this out. This little box here is the shifting sensor. The shifting sensor is actually going to shut off the power to the motor when the drivetrain is shifting gears. This is going to prevent all the power from the motor from breaking your chain when you're changing gears. What do you guys think of this frame? I don't know about the hump on the top tube, but the rest of it looks really nice to me. Does it actually serve a purpose, or is it just for looks? What is nice though is that you get 2 spots for water bottles, or a water bottle and a tool. The frame comes ready to route the housing for the dropper post right through here. In here just past the head tube, out of the battery compartment and into the seat tube. Here's what a 5'9" person looks like sitting on the bike. And this is with the seat at its lowest position. I can easily reach the ground flat-footed. Not too long, not too short. This feels great. And if I want to stretch my legs out while pedaling, seat up a little bit, and now I can get proper stretch out of my legs. Up front, we get another Maxxis Forecaster, and check out the travel on this fork. This fork's got 120 millimeters of travel, a compression lockout, and an air chamber to fill it up to your desired stiffness. Here's our supplied headlight, and what it looks like turned on. The controls up front are very mountain bike. You get a wide set of handlebars with a decent little rise, Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, rapid shifter on the right, and your nice sleek remote on the left. They also give you a nice short stem to stay in control on the trails. Here's what our seat looks like. Standard mountain bike seat with a pressure relief zone. Here's the seat at its lowest position and highest position. That is a lot of seat post. And for stopping power, check these out. You get 4-piston Tektro hydraulic disc brakes biting on to 180 millimeter rotors front and back. I run the same brakes on some high-end mountain bikes and they feel great. I hope their passion translates into a bike that's fun to ride. Let's go find out.
All right, boys and girls. Today we're aboard the Ride1up Prodigy. And this is the cross-country offering from the lineup. There's a couple step-through models, but this is more of a mountain bike model from Ride1up. Like I showed you earlier, it features a 36-volt mid-drive motor by Brose. It is a torque sensor, and this bike, I believe it's classified as a Class 2 e-bike. It does not have a throttle. It is pedal assist only, but really smooth torque sensor. But the nice thing about the Prodigy is that it'll help you up to 28 miles an hour with pedal assist. Ooh. So compared to other class 1 e-bikes that only go up to 20 miles an hour and they're just for trails, this guy here will go up to 28 with pedal assist. Why don't we test that out up here? Okay, let's do the acceleration and top speed all at once. I've got the bike set up in boost mode. Let's go. There's the torque sensor kicking in. Just so you guys know, I'm 190 pounds with all the gear on. There you go, 20 miles an hour already. I'm gonna downshift a couple gears. $23, $24. Let's go on the bike lane here. $26, $27, $28. Let's go, let's push it. No, the bike is not helping me past 20 miles an hour, but it does get there. It's got a Brose motor that's mid-drive, so it actually uses the drivetrain of the bike, which will maximize the torque up this massive hill here. It's about a 20 to 22% grade at the top. It's the steepest one I've got around my house, and since this is not a throttle bike, this is purely pedal assist. Why don't we take it up the steepest hill I've got here? I'm gonna start in boost, which is the most amount of power, and then I'm gonna lower the power just to see what kind of difference, how much harder the hill is to climb when the power is limited. So let's see what we get. We got pretty much a full battery. I'm at 90%. Just use enough power to get here. Let's see here. 20% grade. Let's go. So one thing I'm noticing right away is that this bike has a sensor. When you're changing gears, the power stops. I guess this is a protection thing, just to protect the drivetrain from all that power going into the chain while you're changing gears. But guys, in boost mode, this hill is no problem. I am barely putting any power down on the pedals. It feels super smooth. The torque sensor is very, very accurate. It's very responsive. Just made this massive hill feel like a piece of cake. Let's go back down and lower the assist level just to see how much harder climbing the hill is gonna be without all that power from the boost mode. Eco mode, granny gear. Let's see if this hill is climbable with the bike just in eco mode. Well, it's doable, but it's much heavier than a regular bike. I mean, you've got a big battery and motor down here, a lot of weight. But it's doable. So let's go up to Tour, which is a bit more power. There we go. And looking at the other power modes, we've got Sport and Boost. Okay, let's test the pedal assist modes. Right now I've got the bike turned off. The power's on, but as far as pedal assist goes, it's on the off mode. Let's see what this bike is like to pedal without the power. So I'm gonna go into the granny gear. There we go. I'm in the second gear right now. And you know what? This bike feels just like a regular bike. Mind you, this is really flat here. If there was a hill, I'd probably notice the extra weight, but as far as on a flat road, you can easily pedal this home if you run out of batteries. Let's go to eco mode. Eco mode, to me, I mean, I can barely feel the power. Maybe if you just push on it a lot, yeah, maybe just a tiny bit of power from the bike, really not much. Let's go on a Tour. Tour is going to give you, yeah, a little bit more power. get me up to about 17 miles an hour. Let's go to sport. Sport, a bit more power. Drop a gear. Torque sensor is awesome on this bike. Great pedaling bike. 22 miles an hour. And let's turn the corner here, put the bike in boost mode. There we go. And boost mode. Yeah, this bike goes really fast. This is way faster than you'd ever want to go on a gravel path with other pedestrians around. But you know what? I don't think this is what this bike was meant for. This bike is labeled as a cross-country bike, right? So yeah, sure, gravel paths, commuting to work, kind of a do-it-all mountain bike, right? But let's see what it's like in the trees, on the trails. Let's go to the trees. All right, let's take it into the woods, see what it's like. So let's talk a little bit about ride quality. This Prodigy here is a very easy bike to get along with. I can see it fitting 95% of the people out there. I mean, if you're 5 foot nothing, it might be a little bit big. And if you're 7 feet tall, well, good luck finding a bike that fits. But everybody in between, I'm sure, would have a very easy time getting along with this and finding a very happy sitting position for pedaling, for coasting, for cruising, for riding light trails. Anything you want to do with this bike, you can do it and feel very comfortable doing it. I love how adjustable the seat is. You can go up and down, no problem, and there's a ton of range in that seat post. The pedals, I mean, they're cheap pedals, but they do the job. If you're gonna do some heavier trail riding, you can definitely invest in some decent pedals with some decent metal pins. That'll go a long way to keeping your feet on the pedals, but it does the trick. The handlebars and stem is a happy medium, you know. I think it's a 40-45 mil stem. Not the longest, not the shortest. You can go shorter, you can go longer. And same with the bars, you know. They're not super wide and they're not super narrow. They've got a little bit of a rise, so perfect for mountain biking. And the grips are actually really, really comfortable. They're ergonomic grips. I don't usually like these, but you know, they're not that thick. I can get my hands all the way around. They just feel good, you know. Rapid fire thumb shifter here, which are really nice and accurate. And the brake levers. I've ran these Tektro brakes on some super high-end mountain bikes and they do very, very well. 4-piston hydraulic brakes on a bike like this might be a little bit overkill, but you know, when you need to brake, you need to brake. I think Ride1up could have probably got away with 2-piston brakes, but I'm glad to have the braking power. Definitely comes in handy when you're going 28 miles an hour and need to come to a stop, right? So why don't we switch it up a little bit, and I'm gonna give you guys 5 things that I absolutely love about this bike and 5 things that I would change. So let's start with the things I love about this bike. I think I touched on it earlier. It's a super easy bike to get along with. No matter how tall or short you are, I mean, there's limitations, but this will fit a very, very wide range of riders. The stem and bars are easily interchangeable, and the parts are all industry standard, which means if you want to upgrade anything, the stem, the bars, the pedals, the cranks, the forks, the wheels, the brakes, they're all interchangeable with any other mountain bike products on the market. The second thing I love about this bike are the brakes. These Tektro brakes are so powerful. 4-piston hydraulic brakes is pretty much as good as it gets for a bike in this caliber. The 4 pistons might be a little bit overkill, but when you need it and when you're going 28 miles an hour and need to come to a stop, these Tektro brakes give you a ton of braking power. The third thing that I love about this bike are the tires. For a cross-country offering like this one, I think these Maxxis tires are perfect. A perfect match for the types of trails that a bike like this is designed to ride. You know, gravel trails like this with a little bit of mud and roots and rocks built in, right? Perfect for these Maxxis tires. They're brand name, so you know it's good, they're gonna last, and they're gonna give you the grip you need not to lose control on the trails. Great match for this bike. And while we're on the topic of tires and wheels and things that roll, the 27.5-inch wheels that the Prodigy comes with are a perfect fit as well. They're not too big like the 29ers. A lot of smaller riders would probably complain having 29-inch wheels. They're really big and they're a little bit slower to gain momentum. And 26-inch wheels are gonna be small enough to notice a lot more of the small bumps out there. So the 27.5-inch wheels are the perfect medium. They're large enough to roll over all the roots and rocks and keep the ride super smooth. And they're small enough to not be too in the way for smaller riders. And another perk to having a little bit smaller wheels when you compare 27.5 to 29s is that they're gonna be stronger. They're gonna need less maintenance. That means less time in the shop keeping them straight. The fourth thing that I love about this Prodigy is the frame. I think the frame has great geometry, which means that it puts you in a great position to ride trails, which is exactly what it's meant to do. It's not a cruiser bike. It's not gonna get you sat straight up and, you know, high handlebars and just kind of lounging around while you're pedaling. This puts you in a pedaling position, and it puts you in a little bit more forward position, which is great and necessary when you're riding trails. If you don't have any weight over the handlebars and over the front of the bike, you're not going to get any traction in the gravel or in the dirt paths. So this frame is bang on as far as putting you in the right position to get proper grip down to the tires and a great seating position for pedaling all day. And the fifth and final thing that I love about the Ride1up Prodigy is the motor. This motor is the quietest motor I have ever ridden. No matter how much the bike costs. I've ridden bikes that are well over $10,000. I've ridden bikes that are under $500. This is by far the quietest motor I have ever ridden. You cannot hear it. You can't hear it whine, you can't hear it start. I don't even know if it's on or off. The only thing that tells me this bike has a motor is when I change the power modes. If I go from sport to boost, I'm gonna feel that surge of power. If I go down to eco and then go into sport, same thing, I'm gonna feel that surge of power. It's the only time that I realize that this bike has a motor, which I think is a testament to how well it's tuned and how great of a job the guys at Ride1up did with tuning this motor and tuning this bike frame and making this bike. Okay, enough gushing about this bike. It's not perfect. There are a couple of things that I feel like are missing. Now, quick disclaimer, these are not deal breakers. These are very easy fixes and potential upgrades for the future if you end up buying this bike. So the first thing I'm gonna bring up as a potential upgrade is the front fork. It's got a ton of adjustability. It's got an air spring so you can tune it to your weight. It's got compression on the other side. It's got decent adjustability for the rider's weight. It's got great travel. It's got enough travel to smooth out some pretty chunky trails, but it doesn't feel premium. I'm gonna try to explain. Higher end forks have what you call a damper inside. Usually it's a rebound adjustment, and that'll slow down how quickly the fork springs back to fully extended. So usually with a high-end fork, that rebound isn't just like a spring just pushing the fork back out. It's a valve that lets air and oil in and out and you can adjust that so you can make the rebound slower or faster. But with this fork, there's none of that, meaning it feels like a pogo stick. It makes a really nasty clunking sound. I don't know if I can do it here. Right? It just clunks right down to the bottom. I know there's limitations with how premium of parts you can put onto a $2,000 bike, but if it was me making a bike that's meant to be ridden off-road, a cross-country bike like this one, I personally would have invested $100 more and gotten a nicer premium feeling fork. Just my 2 cents. The second thing I changed about this bike is I'd put a cassette in the back with a little bit longer range. I kind of feel like people that get a bike like this one are gonna want some exercise and are gonna want to maximize the range to go explore further and further. So having a little bit wider range and easier gears back there would definitely come in handy. You could lower the power assist level from the bike, require less help from it, in turn giving you more exercise and a way longer range from this little 14 amp hour battery. The third thing that I would change about this bike, I'm kind of sad it didn't come with one, but it's a very easy upgrade. And in fact, Ride1up actually even spec'd the frame with that in mind. This frame doesn't have a dropper post, meaning every time you want to lower or raise the seat, you have to stop, undo the clamp, adjust it manually, right? I mean, that really takes away from the flow that you're in and the fun that you're having on the trails, right? Having a dropper post, right, would give you a remote right here, a little switch. You click on it and then whoop, your seat goes up automatically. You don't have to stop or get off the bike or none of that. But you do have to route a cable through the frame all the way up to the remote. And that has already been thought of by Ride1up. They have a hole here to go inside the frame for the dropper post remote cable. It has an output here and another input right here into the seat post. So you could easily pick yourself up a dropper post, add the remote, run it through the frame and all the way up to the seat post, and you can get yourself a dropper. But for a $2,000 bike, I kind of wish it had one already. For number 4, I'm gonna bring up a couple of things that the bike is missing for certain situations. But if you're buying this to ride trails, this is not gonna affect you in any way. The bike doesn't have any lights. Well, it does have a little headlight here, but it's not super powerful. I mean, it's barely bright enough to light the ground in front of you, just to get you out of the woods if you get stuck and you end up losing the sun, right? But as a commuter, this bike doesn't have any tail light, right? There's no brake light, there's no turn signals, there's no nothing for extra visibility in the evenings when you're around other cars riding the bike lane as a commuter bike. I kind of feel like the person who's going to buy this bike is going to use it for pretty much everything. Getting around town, commuting to work, riding trails on the weekend, right? Going for family bike rides. You're going to be able to do it all with a bike like this. But riding around other cars without the visibility of a tail light, turn signals, things like that, is just going to make it a little bit sketchy riding in the evening. And a headlight like this is not going to be enough to really light up the path in front of you if you absolutely lose the sunlight. So very easy fix. Amazon has tons of add-on headlights and tail lights that you can easily wire into this bike and, you know, make it look good. But again, I think it's just kind of like that personality complex that this bike has. It's an off-road cross-country bike, but great at commuting. It's kind of a good do-it-all in-betweener, right? So, and the fifth and final thing that I wish this bike had right out of the box is fenders. It doesn't have any front or rear fenders. Looks like the bike has the pre-drilled holes and hardware for them, but it doesn't come with them. I don't know why Ride1up wouldn't just include them in the box. I'll look on their website, see if it's an add-on, but I kind of wish that it came with them. At least give the rider an option to leave them on or to take them off if they're really going to be unnecessary. But not having fenders on a commuter bike or even an off-road bike going through puddles and mud and stuff like that, you're going to end up with a ton of mud streaked along your rear end and all over your face. It's going to make it sketchy actually to ride this bike in the wet without fenders. Let's test the brakes. I'm gonna pedal as fast as I can, hopefully get it close to 28, and then slam on the brakes at that yellow sign. Not too bad. About 20 feet. Perfect. This bike has Tektro 4-piston hydraulic brakes, front and back. The rotors are 180 mils, but man, the biting power that a 4-piston hydraulic brake has. And these brakes feel really, really good. Solid 9 out of 10 for braking. So for range, here's what I got so far. I've done 18 miles on it today in boost and sports mode, and the battery's showing 34% left. So I see no problems in eco and tour mode, putting in a bit more of your own power, getting anywhere between 30, 40, 50 miles of range on a single battery charge. It really all depends on how many hills you climb, how much vertical you get, and how much power you put in versus how much power you require from the bike, right? But for me today, I'll probably do 20 miles and still have about 30% left in the battery. So who exactly should buy a bike like the Ride1up Prodigy? In my opinion, the Prodigy is a perfect bike for someone who wants to dabble in a few different things. Commuting, cruising the bike paths on the weekend, and a little bit of light trail riding. Great, comfortable bike, easy to get along with, and very easily adjustable to whatever body size and type you have. The other person that I think would really want to buy a bike like this is the person that wants to get a decent amount of exercise. This is a great bike to pedal. The motor, battery, and control unit are great. They feel like they're not there at all. It's a very small display, very inconspicuous. The motor you do not hear at all. And depending on your power level, sometimes you don't even feel it. It is so smooth. The power ramp up and torque sensor on this bike are so high quality. It's definitely the highlight of this bike. So whether you want to ride gravel paths like this with your family on the weekends or dabble in some light mountain biking, the Ride1up Prodigy is a great offering from Ride1up at a great price. It's a bike that's super easy to get along with, and it's super easily upgradable, and you can build it out to however you want it with industry standard parts. I love how this is the torque sensor mid-drive bike that doesn't limit you to 20 miles an hour. You can take it all the way up to 28. So if you're gonna use this bike for commuting, it'll get you to work in no time. Okay, let's see what this thing's like going off some drops. Whoa! The tires really dig in. So I want to thank the team at Ride1up for sending the Prodigy over for review. I had a blast riding this bike today. If you guys want to check out the Prodigy and potentially buy one for yourself, there's a link in the description, and if I can get my hands on a discount code to help you guys save a little extra money, it'll be right underneath that link. It's a free and easy way for you guys to support the channel, and I greatly appreciate you guys clicking on that link. If the Ride1up Prodigy is not the bike for you, that's okay. Maybe the bike in this video will be more what you're looking for. I'll see you guys there.